I never thought I'd see the devil in me come back. Not after all these years. I promised myself that the violence, the rage was buried for good. But when danger knocked on my door tonight, I learned that some promises are meant to be broken.
It's a quiet evening in my small living room. The ticking of the clock is the only companion to my thoughts. I sit surrounded by the ghosts of my past, faded photographs on the wall, souvenirs of a life lived too hard and fast. In my hand is a dog-eared photo of my daughter as a little girl, smiling with missing baby teeth. I run my thumb over her face in the picture. God, she had her mother's smile. I blink away a tear as I remember those days. Days I missed. Days stolen by my own mistakes. You see, I was not a good man when I was younger. Far from it. I spent years wrapped up in a life of crime, running with bad people, doing bad things. Fists and fury were my trade, and I was damn good at it. Back then they called me Mad Jack on the streets, a name I earned with blood and violence, a name I'm ashamed of now. My wife tried to save me from that life. God bless her soul, she tried. But I was too stubborn, too hungry for power or whatever foolish respect I thought I was getting. By the time I realized what I was losing, it was too late. I remember the day she packed up our daughter and left. That memory still cuts deep. A 5-year-old little girl clutching a teddy bear, looking at me with big, confused eyes as her mother dragged her away from me. I had chosen wrongs over my own family. That was my rock bottom, the day I swore to change. I vowed I'd never lift a violent hand again, that I'd bury Mad Jack forever. It took years of loneliness, prison bars, and hard-won forgiveness to crawl out of the hole I'd dug. Eventually, by some miracle, my daughter gave me a second chance. When I got out of prison, she was in her 20s, engaged to a good man. She found it in her heart to let her old man back into her life. Slowly, cautiously, but she did. I spent the last 2 decades making it up to her. I babysat my granddaughter Lily from the day she was born. I baked cookies. Imagine a tough old fool like me in an apron. And walked her to school, played Santa every Christmas. I became the gentle, loving Grandpa Jack, the kind of man I should have been all along. Lily's 10 now, bright as the sun, sweet as sugar. To her, I'm just Grandpa, the guy who tells corny jokes and gives warm hugs. She has no idea who I used to be. My daughter prefers it that way, and so do I. Why taint such pure love with the darkness of my past? Tonight, I sit here alone while my daughter, son-in-law, and Lily sleep upstairs. I often stay over in the guest room nowadays. I cherish every moment with them. The house is finally quiet, but I can't sleep. Something's weighing on me. An old instinct, a prickle at the back of my neck I haven't felt in years. Maybe I'm just being a paranoid old man. Still, I get up and double-check the locks. Front door, back door, windows, everything is secure. Yet the unease doesn't fade. I peer out through the heavy curtains into the night. The street is dark, empty. But I know too well that evil can hide in darkness. This afternoon, I noticed a black sedan parked down the street for hours. I thought nothing of it at first, this neighbor's friend or a lost driver perhaps. But when I walked by to fetch the mail, the car pulled away so suddenly, almost like they didn't want to be seen. It set off alarm bells in my head. Old habits, I guess. Once you've been hunted, you never forget the feeling. I haven't told my daughter about it. No need to worry unless I'm sure something's wrong. But my gut is twisting. Calm down, Jack. It's probably nothing. I whispered to myself, trying to shake off the dread. Still, I find myself opening the hall closet. Behind boxes of winter coats and boots, I fumble for a small lockbox I keep hidden. My hands tremble a bit as I fish it out and set it on the dining table.
under the weak light. It's been a long time since I've opened this. The key hangs on my old keychain, nearly forgotten. Click. The lid pops open, and there it is, my revolver. A Smith & Wesson .38 from the old days, wrapped in an oily rag. I haven't touched this gun in over 20 years. Seeing the dull metal, the weight of it in my hand, sends a shiver through me. Memories flood back. Rough nights and roaring gunfire. The smell of powder. The person I was. I push those thoughts away. I check the cylinder. Still loaded with the same 5 bullets I put in it when I swore I'd never use it again. I always told myself it was just for emergencies, for protecting my family. A promise to myself. Only if absolutely necessary. Is tonight that night, I wonder? My reflection in the dark window answers with hollow eyes. Another peek outside. For a moment, nothing. Just the lamplight glinting off the glass. Then I see it. The black sedan coasting slowly onto our street, headlights off, like a predator stalking prey. It rolls to a stop across the road. My heart pounds in my chest, a deep thump I feel in my fingertips. 3 silhouettes emerge, dark figures against the faint moonlight. They're heading this way. I can't see their faces, but I don't need to. I know danger when I see it. Probably the same thugs who tried to shake down my daughter's bakery last week. I had confronted them then. Just a frail old man with a steel in his voice they didn't expect. I told them if they ever came near my family or her shop again, they'd regret it. I may have been out of the game, but a father never really loses his bite. I scared him off that day. Or so I thought. Looks like they weren't done after all. Maybe they followed us home. Or maybe they're just out for revenge. Either way, they've made a terrible mistake. Adrenaline surges through my veins, an old familiar burn I never wanted to feel again. I swallow hard, trying to keep my hands steady as I grip the revolver. I quickly thumb back the hammer, then curse under my breath. It's been so long. I nearly forgot this revolver doesn't have a safety. It's ready to fire as is. My hands remember what to do, even as my mind reels. I tiptoe up the stairs and gently push open Lily's bedroom door. In the pale nightlight glow, I see her sleeping form, tiny, peaceful. My heart clenches. She's dreaming, clutching that same threadbare teddy bear from the photo. For a second, I'm transported back in time. She looks so much like a mother did at that age. Innocent. Safe. That's how it should always be. Quietly, I close the door and move to my daughter's room. I shake her awake, and my son-in-law too, with a whisper, "There's trouble. Get Lily and lock yourselves in the bathroom. Now. Don't ask. Just do it." My daughter's eyes flare with alarm, but she sees the resolve in my face. She nods, no questions. In moments, I watch as they scoop up Lily, still half asleep and whimpering, and retreat into the master bath. The lock clicks. Good. A muffled crash from downstairs, glass shattering. They're coming in, likely through the kitchen. So much for subtlety. Every muscle in my body goes taut. Time slows down, like the universe is holding its breath with me. I creep down the staircase, avoiding the one step that creaks. Years of sneaking in shadows ironically taught me how to move silently in my own home. The kitchen window is broken, jagged shards sticking out from the frame. Cold night air seeps in, carrying the scent of danger. A figure is climbing through. He's in, followed by two others who slip in behind him. 3 men, just as I counted. They think they're the predators here. They don't realize they've entered a wolf's den. I melt into the darkness of the hallway. In the shadows, I am invisible, just another shape among the furniture and memories. My pulse is thundering, but my mind is razor sharp. Almost like Mad Jack is awake inside me, calm and coiled, telling me what to do. The intruders spread out, whispering in low tones. "Find the old man," I hear one of them rasp. "And grab anything valuable," hisses another. They carry metal crowbars. One has a knife that catches a sliver of moonlight. I tighten my grip on the gun, finger outside the trigger guard. Not yet. I'm ready to do this, but I won't unless I have no choice. They move through the living room toward the stairs, toward my family. My chest tightens. In an instant, I step out behind the one trailing at the rear. Before he can yelp, the heavy barrel of my revolver meets the base of his skull with a dull crack. He crumples to the floor like a sack of potatoes, his crowbar clattering on the hardwood. "What the?" The second man spins around, too slow. Decades of pent-up aggression fuel my swing as I smash the revolver across his jaw. A burst of pain splits my own knuckles as his teeth cut into them. But he goes down hard, collapsing onto Mom's old rug in a heap. 2 down. But my element of surprise is lost. The third man sees me. He's taller, younger, with feral eyes that flash in recognition. "You," he snarls, lip curled. "We've tangled before." He lunges and I catch the glint of a thrown knife. I twist aside, but pain erupts across my left upper arm. The blade slices a fiery line through flesh. Hot blood seeps down my arm, but I barely feel it. He barrels into me with a furious roar. We slam into the side table, sending a lamp crashing to the floor. He's strong, or maybe I'm just not the man I once was. We grapple in the dark, a tangle of limbs and fury. His forearm comes up against my throat, and he drives me back into the wall. My windpipe constricts. I see bursts of light in my vision as I choke. Desperate, I drive my knee into his gut. He lets out a woof and loosens his grip just enough. My right hand, acting on pure instinct, swings up with the revolver and brings it crashing down onto his collarbone. He cries out in pain and stumbles back, clutching his shoulder. Free from his chokehold, I drag in a ragged breath, wheezing. My arm burns from the knife loom, but I grit through it. The intruder staggers, then with a wild glare, he reaches behind his back and yanks out a pistol of his own. Time freezes in that heartbeat. I see his finger tense on the trigger, the barrel rising toward me, toward the stairs behind me where my family is hidden. And I know this is it. This is the line I never wanted to cross. The line I must cross now or lose everything.
Gunshot shatters the silence. For a moment, I don't know who's hit. My ears ring from the deafening blast in the hallway.
Then the young man drops to his knees, his pistol slipping from his grasp, unfired. A dark red stain spreads across his jacket. I realize my own revolver is locked in my two-handed grip, smoke curling from the barrel. I pulled the trigger. He looks up at me, shock and hatred contorting his features. His mouth moves as if to speak, but no sound comes, just a strangled gasp. Then he collapses forward onto the floor and lies still. Silence. The kind of silence that falls after chaos, when the world holds its breath, and even the shadows recoil. My breath comes in heavy gulps. It's over. It's done. I don't know how long I stand there trembling, staring at the body on the rug. 5 seconds? 5 minutes? Eventually, a small voice cuts through the haze. "Grandpa?" I whirl toward the stairs to see Lily at the top, in her ponytail pajamas, clutching her teddy bear. My daughter stands just behind her, one hand protectively on Lily's shoulder and the other covering the child's eyes so she can't fully see the scene below. They must have heard the shot and feared the worst. "It's okay, baby, stay there," I call up, my voice shaking but as gentle as I can make it. I quickly kick the intruder's dropped weapons away and make sure the two I knocked out are still out cold and no threat. They're alive, just unconscious. The third, he's beyond any help I can give now. My daughter cautiously descends the steps, keeping Lily tucked behind her so our little girl won't glimpse the blood or the fallen man. She rushes to me and looks around with wide, teary eyes, taking in my bleeding arm, the two groaning men on the floor, and the lifeless body of their leader. Relief and anguish wore on her face. She throws her arms around me, careful of my wound. I hold her tight for a moment. Over her shoulder I see Lily peeking, eyes huge and frightened, not understanding but sensing the danger is past. I summon a reassuring smile for her. "Grandpa's okay, sweetheart," I whisper hoarsely. "We're safe now." Within minutes, the night erupts in a flurry of red and blue lights. The police arrive, followed by paramedics. They secure the two injured thieves and zip the third into a black body bag. One of the officers, a young man with a stern face, takes my statement. He listens with a kind of quiet respect when I shakily explain how I, just an old man, managed to take down 3 armed criminals. I simply tell him, "You do what you gotta do to protect your own." He nods at that, as if he understands completely. They rule it a clear case of self-defense, no charges for me. The paramedic checks my arm. The knife wound is thankfully a shallow gash. He stitches me up right there, praising my courage, even as he warns me to take it easy at my age. I barely hear him. My ears are still ringing, my mind far away. As dawn begins to break, the cops finish their work and drive off with the arrested men. The street grows quiet again. I sink down on the front stoop, exhausted, as the adrenaline ebbs and a heavy numbness settles in my bones. My arm throbs under the bandage, but that pain is nothing compared to the ache inside my chest. Stare down at my hands. They're stained with drying blood, some mine, some not. In my right hand, I'm still clutching one spent shell casing for my revolver. I turn it over in my palm. It glints in the early light, a tiny object that carries the weight of a life ended. Such a small thing, such a final thing. I can't stop looking at that little brass shell. All these years, I muttered to myself, voice barely audible. All these years I kept the monster caged, praying I'd never have to set him loose again. Yet tonight, to save my family, I opened the cage door, and the monster did what he knows best. A warm presence leans against me. It's Lily, sneaking out to her grandpa despite her mother's protests to let me rest. She slips under my arm and presses her face into my side. I wrap my good arm around her instinctively, drawing her close. Her small hands clutch my shirt. She looks up at me with big brown eyes, still shiny from tears. "Grandpa, you're hurt," she says in a trembling voice, noticing the blood on my sleeve. "It's all right, honey. I whisper, kissing her forehead softly. "Just a scratch. Don't you worry about me." I force myself to sound calm and cheerful, the way I do when she scrapes her knee playing. My daughter stands in the doorway, watching us with a mix of sorrow and gratitude. Tears glisten on her cheeks. She knows exactly what I did for them tonight, and what it cost me. When our eyes meet, she gives me a trembling, grateful smile. In that look, I see pride in her old man, and a deep sadness that we were forced into this. Yet, there's also understanding. I hug Lily a little tighter, feeling the steady thump of her heart against my ribs. In her innocence, she has no idea of the darkness that visited us, or the darkness that still swirls inside me. To her, I'm still the kind, silly grandpa who makes the world safe. And for her, for them, I'd walk through fire. I'd become any kind of monster, unleash any demon from my past, if it meant keeping them safe. Does that make me evil? I don't know. I'll wrestle with that question for the rest of my days. The weight of the life I took will haunt me every time I close my eyes. I can still see his face, the shock in his eyes as he realized what an old man was capable of. But as I hold my granddaughter now, I also feel something like solace stirring in my shattered heart. The price of protecting those you love can be steep. My soul is heavy with that cost, and yet I'd pay it again, 1,000 times over. Because some things are worth it. Lily, my family, they are worth it. So here I sit, a tired old man with blood on his hands and love in his heart, caught between the monster I was and the man I strive to be. Perhaps redemption isn't a destination at all, but a road that winds through our lives, one we must walk every day. Perhaps each day I'm given is another chance to choose who I am. This morning, I chose to be a protector, even if it meant staining my soul once more. Maybe that's what redemption truly is. Not a perfectly clean slate, but the willingness to dirty it again for the sake of those you care about, and to carry that burden so they don't have to. I kiss the top of Lily's head as the rising sun paints the sky in hues of gold. She peeks up at me and offers a tiny brave smile, still oblivious to the turmoil within me. Seeing that smile, knowing she feels safe in my arms, it warms something inside me. Maybe being her grandpa, the gentle guardian she believes I am, is enough. Maybe that's all I need to be. I whisper a silent prayer of thanks that they are unharmed, and a prayer for the soul of that foolish young man who forced my hand tonight. May God forgive me. May God forgive him too. The day will go on. In a little while, birds will sing, and the world will wake up as if nothing happened. We'll mop up the blood, replace the broken glass, and try to move forward. On the surface, life might return to normal, but I know nothing will truly be the same. Not for me. Once you've opened the door to your old demons, you can't ever completely shut it again. I've seen the darkness I'm still capable of, felt its pull. A part of me fears that now it's been awakened, it will never fully go back to sleep. Yet as I look at my granddaughter's innocent face, I know I would make the same choice again in a heartbeat. Sometimes, to protect those you love, you must become something you hate. It's a cruel paradox, one I pray she'll never have to understand. All I know is that love pushed me into the darkness, and love is what will guide me back out into the light. And as the sun finally rises on this harrowing night, I hold my family close and hope that in their light, I can learn to forgive myself.